First of all, that thing is suspended. Right after what Hayden did, they suspended the targeting rule right away.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Where'd you hear
really?
that from? I didn't know that.
The day after, every match that I was playing, the refs were like, "Okay, just to let you know, targeting rule is suspended for now." Yeah,
So you just start headshotting everybody immediately?
I don't know what you guys think, but I think that rule is a little dumb. I mean, if you can hit someone in the face and you want to do it, you should be able to. I think like I'm never gonna do that. I'm never gonna go for that shot. Like, and that Don Stanley call was funny because he called it, and right away, like they didn't go to review it. So hey, that was the match point. So right away, I'm like, no chance. And then he's like, yeah, no, Darren, he like right on the spot, he changed his call. But you could tell like, he was like, he wanted to call it so bad, like he was like waiting for the moment.
So there was a college pickleball tournament recently, and across the entire tournament, they used 600 total balls. Out of 600, there were only three that cracked, and apparently none were out of round. When I heard that, I was like, this needs to be talked about. Komodo BioBalls last 5 times longer than the average ball, but they're also biodegradable, so even if they do crack and end up in a bush somewhere, not a problem. Check out the Komodo BioBalls at komodopickleball.com. Links in the description. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, all right, you guys ready to rock it? Let's go. Fed, welcome to the pod.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, we got a decent amount to unpack here after an interesting weekend.
Yeah, dude. Fed. How was your weekend?
The weekend was awesome, man. The weekend was long. Uh, Started with maybe you asked the questions and I answered them.
How's the triple brown? We'll start there, dude. It's got to be brutal. These bronze matches are brutal, and we saw a couple clips, and there's a couple clips going around of Ben. Ben and AL were spanking you guys, and then Ben started hitting some trick shots and stuff, and it just seemed like the couple of the bronzes weren't super serious.
Yeah, the bronzes are tough, especially for the guys that that we play like a lot of matches. I played Friday, three quarterfinals. All of them went to three games, and then I had to play semifinals. Same thing. I think I played eight games, and then Sunday I just didn't have any motivation. I know it's tough for the fans that they want to watch good stuff, but I just honestly I didn't have anything left on my tank. So yeah, it was tough, and that mixed doubles match was even worse because I played 10 a.m. men's doubles bronze. Then I think there was like a women's doubles bronze. Then I played the singles, and then I had to wait like all day long for Annalie and Ben to be done. Uh, so I was just like, "What are we doing here?" Like, like, and then Ben. I mean, I saw a couple comments like Ben and Fed didn't try. I mean, no one was trying, honestly. Like Annalie wasn't playing like Annalie. Catherine wasn't playing like Catherine. Like it was just the energy was like in the floor, and I just really didn't know what to do. Like, am I supposed to like go crazy and start speeding up? Like, because even if I do that, probably we're not winning a match anyway. So it's like, yeah, it was tough.
Well, what do you think? What do you think should be done about bronzes? Do we even know if are people watching them? Like it used to be that the bronze medal match was played before the gold medal match because you could loop your way back in. It was double elimination. It used to mean something. Now it just means that you're in third place, and I guess the Olympics have a gold, silver, bronze, of course, but like I feel like I feel like less sports have bronze than don't have it, right? Like, or more sports don't have a bronze medal than do have it.
Yeah, I think we just gotta get rid of them. Especially because the guys that play bronze medal matches are usually the guys that are already playing so many matches during the week. Like the main thing was that I heard is like, we're paying you guys so much, go and play the bronze, But it's like with that, thinking about if you're gonna think about it like that, then okay, I'll play, but have the first rounders that have contracts do the ball boys in those matches. It's like we're already playing so much, so much more. So it's like, yeah, it's like I don't get, like you will wanna protect those players. And there's always injury of sorry, risk of injury. Like it's just so much in our bodies. So just the less, the better product you're gonna have in the following weeks anyway.
Yeah, that's
I feel like
true.
we have this conversation like once a year. The Do we just get rid of bronze and then it subsides for a little bit and then it resurfaces? What's the argument for bronze medal matches at this point?
Well, I feel like the argument has been previously like, do we get rid of backdraw? And then do we get rid of. We've been like slowly chipping away at all of it. First, it was
Yeah.
getting rid of double elimination. Then, after we got rid of double elim, you could play to the fifth place match, which really sucked. And then it was like, all right, there's no backdraw. And now it's just bronze. And eventually, like, I'm sure bronze has probably got to be the next thing to go.
Honestly, the backdoor, I don't think it was a bad idea. Like for example, when I used to play it, me and Pablo, we used to play all the backdoors. Like we used to grind. We were the team with more fifth place like finishes on that year. Like we loved it because we wanted to get better. So it was like extra reps like every day. So for us, it was awesome. Now it's tough for newcomers to get those reps. So maybe a backdraw wouldn't be a bad idea, but the bronze, having the actual bronze on Sunday for the people that are playing, even like Ben and Ali they had two finals and then they had to play a bronze. It's like why we're doing that?
Mhm.
Uh, but I think like for players that lose in the first or second round, the backdraw could be a really good idea actually. Like that's like good reps.
Yeah, like basically the consolation bracket for sure.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
think it's
I don't
a
think
I
it's
don't think
bad.
it's a bad idea. You can move through it really quick. You don't even need to have like, you don't have to put it on show courts or whatever. Um, that's interesting. That's like what they were doing kind of with the points draw before.
Exactly. Yep.
Gotcha,
Hmm.
gotcha. So, all right, let's go over then to singles. Your singles day, that was the most controversial match probably of the year so far. But before we get into the controversy stuff, I wanted to talk about a strategy thing. I noticed both of you guys were staying back on returns. Hunter a lot more than you, but you were staying back on occasion on returns, and I think in pickleball up through probably the first 3 quarters of 2024, you would never see a guy return and stay back. Tell me about what you feel like is going on in pro singles on that.
That's funny that you say that because the first time that I saw that happening was a match that you played
Yeah, dude, I
against
started doing
Jay
that a while ago.
and against James Ignatowicz in APP South Carolina, Camden, South Carolina. You guys were
Uh-huh.
like ripping baseline shots. I was like, what are you guys doing here? It was funny. But yeah, like honestly, when I stay back, usually and the return is because I had a bad bounce. The ball went up and I can't really follow through my return, so I have to stay back. It's not usually my strategy. I think I don't really like it that single speaker was going that way. I like when the points are kind of like in the kitchen, cut them out because then it's like we're playing like kind of like mini tennis. It's like for that I'll just play tennis. Like pickleball is in the kitchen. Everything like doubles, even singles is court coverage. So yeah, I mean Hunter, kudos to him. He finds a way to win from the baseline, which is crazy. I thought uh, his passengers are probably the best in the game right now. So for him it works. Yeah.
Yeah. The interesting thing though is he's not completely just banging away from the baseline. Like he hits a big return, and when you hit a big return, he's hitting his returns like passing shots, right? So he's hitting his returns to corners, and he's taking a stationary swing at it, as opposed to you. You do a really good job of moving through, taking it early, but your shot is a lot flatter, right? Your shot is very flat on that return. His is a topspin ground stroke, which is very difficult to get to the net off of. But then if you try to approach after he's hit a really good deep return, you're maybe a step off of that line. He seems to be coming in and approaching off of fourth shots as opposed to coming in right away on the second. So it's not like he's always just banging away from the baseline.
Yeah, I noticed that too. Like he's kind of like slapping that return and then just hitting an amazing shot after that, and then coming to the kitchen. Yeah, it's a pretty cool strategy. Just I mean, it's the paddle technology. Honestly, I mean, you
Right.
couldn't do that 2 years ago. Like
Hmm.
Just the paddles were way softer. Now it's like you can serve big, and then the return comes even harder. It's pretty crazy. Yeah, then you get that type of points.
Yeah, dude, you would have loved singles pickleball like 3.5 years ago. It didn't look like tennis at all. Like when we couldn't create with spin, there was so much cat and mouse. I vote for that in singles. That was way more entertaining pickleball. Frank Anthony Davis, you ever see some of his clips, dude?
Yeah, I played against him. I watched a lot of your matches with Jay De Villiers, and those were
Hmm.
amazing. I mean, those points were, you have Jay just slamming balls and you're going back and forth like that. So it was pretty crazy. I thought it was more fun. Now it's like half of the points are honestly mid returns. It's like, what are we doing? Like we are the top pros and we're missing returns. Like that doesn't look good. It's like,
Yeah, I
Yeah, I
feel
mean,
you.
like that's kind of how tennis is, though, right? Like, there's a pretty, the serve
yeah, but that's
plays
but
a
but
massive role.
yeah, but it's an overhead serve. Like there's a that's a bullet coming to you. We're just serving under. It's like how you can miss a return when someone is returning you, if someone is serving you like that. That's what I
Hmm.
think.
What do you think about bounce serves, Fed? Now's your now's your chance. You can advocate for bounce serves,
I
drop
I,
serves.
I hadn't tried it yet, but we can. I think that would be good, like a drop serve, like kind of like padel.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think they're
exactly.
great. I do think they're great. Enforceable, an actually enforceable rule.
But
Um,
but if you drop serve, then the return is gonna come like a bullet, right? Don't you
no,
think?
you can hit the serves pretty hard. Like
Really?
I've done it. You can serve just as well. Like, and honestly, I feel like the timing of it is a little bit easier. Like, I don't really think that it actually nerfs the serve all that much, but it just makes it enforceable.
Interesting.
Mhm.
I'll send you a clip. All right, dude. Tell us your perspective on the Hunter match. So for reference, really close match, 97-minute long match. There were some close calls and whatnot. I do want to mention at the end of the match, we're going to talk about plenty of controversy. I do want to mention something that I thought was really cool. You and Hunter had a moment at the net, and it seems like you guys are all fine despite all the stuff that was happening on the court. Is that an accurate assessment?
Like after the match, you mean?
Yeah, no, I mean it seems like you guys don't have any like problem with one another.
No, no. Hunter was, yeah. Hunter is such a nice guy. You know, I had nothing against him. I just went a little crazy, and after the match, even like 2 days after, I texted him. I was like, "Hey, man, like, sorry about my, like my antics or whatever. My energy in the court was kind of bad with you." And then yeah, I texted him, and we're good. Like we're buddies. We get along pretty well.
Yeah, I mean I was just pointing out I thought you guys had a nice moment at the end of after a hour and 40 long match. So
Yeah.
it looked like whatever happened stays off the court. But tell us about that. Tell us about your perspective on that whole
Well, do you
match.
should we read through like the sequence of events?
Yeah, go for it, Tommy.
And then Fed, you correct me if I'm out of pocket on some of this.
Yeah.
The
Well,
boys put this one together, so feel free to criticize. I'll just hit like the key points. So first of all, it's a semifinal. You versus Hunter Johnson. Final score 12-10, 10-12, 11-5. But there were a few like key moments that got a little bit heated. So I think it was you called an out ball in game two. Hunter Johnson challenges the call. Ref upholds the call after reviewing the video. It seems like the crowd could see the replay, and so could Hunter and everybody there up on the big video screen. And there was kind of the sentiment that it was probably deserving of an overturn. So Hunter calls in Don Stanley, who wasn't reffing the match. So he comes over and he overturns the call in Hunter's favor. At that point, I believe you called a medical timeout. And there's a big delay, right? So now we're pretty delayed. I don't know how long the delay was in total. Tough to watch it back because apparently it was edited out of the YouTube video.
It was all cut up,
Um,
yeah. It's like a
yeah,
45
so
minute YouTube video
yeah,
in an hour,
compare
45
compare
minute
compare
match.
that to compare that to your bronze medal match against Annalie and Ben. That was 11 minutes and 59 seconds. That's the YouTube video right now. But okay, so now it's like heated match, right? And now it's game three, and I believe you lost a point, and I don't know what exactly you did. You kind of just like hit the ball when you were returning it to Hunter so he could serve, and you got a technical warning. During the side switch, you said some stuff in Spanish, which apparently the ref understood, and he calls another technical warning. Two technical warnings. That's a technical foul. Point awarded to Hunter. So at this point, you're pissed. You're like, all right, Don, come back to the court. Head ref, I'm going to challenge the technical. The refs communicate, and Don upholds the technical because you called in the head ref, and the challenge didn't go your way. You get another technical, so that's another technical foul and another point awarded to Hunter. So in this sequence, you lose 2 points. Hunter
Yeah,
gets
right
two
away.
points. You go from 2-6 to 2-8. At that point, seems like you're a little too
Ready to go.
frustrated to rally and make the comeback, and you end up losing that one 11-5. So is that a good recap?
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah,
Perfect.
perfect.
I'll
Couple
take it.
things to add at the end, probably, but yeah.
Um, all right. So in the interview post match, I was told that you were pretty ready to get like over to the interview and speak your mind. You said something really interesting. So I'm just going to read the exact quote. It's really difficult to win if I literally have to play against Hunter, and he's a great player, and I also have to beat the refs. The refs are literally against me the whole time, so it's tough. I don't know. I think I just pay the price of being the non American on the court. Honestly, that's what it is. Sometimes the line calls are 50-50, but today it wasn't 50-50. He was making out calls on balls that were in, so I had to challenge literally just to get a point. So I'm doing that and then calling balls out that are actually out, and they'll overturn in his favor. So it's like I'm fighting against everybody. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, you want
Do
to? Okay,
you
yeah,
go ahead? What's your
yeah.
like
So
general?
I'm just gonna go like through the sequence. Like, first of all, 12-10, crazy first game. Same thing, second game, 11-10. That was a super close ball. I'm looking at the video replay. It's not I mean, everybody went crazy, but I was like, I mean, that's not 100% sure. And the video challenge, they say it was out. So it's like, okay. And then Don comes, and then Hunter puts a lot of pressure on Don, and I could realize already by that moment that Don was gonna overturn it. So I knew because Hunter was like, wait, but if you don't overturn me, you're gonna take a point because that was a point penalty for him, I think. If Don
Right.
didn't say it was in, so I knew it already. So now I'm getting heated up. Then of course I lose that game, and then third game. This ref that was refing our match, I always have issues with him just because he's always looking for something small to go crazy on me. So like I'm he gave me a warning because I think I slammed a ball to the stands, right? So okay, whatever. And then 6-2, I'm telling him, can I say what I said here or no? Like whatever it is.
Yeah.
I was like, you always do this shit to me. You always do this shit to me in Spanish.
Mm.
So no one could understand, just me and him. Like being cordial, I could say in English so everybody can understand. And he's like, point penalty, da da da. I was like, dude, like, I'm just telling you something, like, and I didn't even, like, I wasn't yelling, like, the refs need to understand that the players are in a high intense, like me, especially I'm high energy. So it's like, I'm a little crazy out there. That's how I roll. And yeah, he just went crazy. And then I was like, okay, call Don, same thing. And then, okay, now I'm like done, ready to go. And then what happens after that is that Hunter Hunter was overturned a couple times already, and then he's overturned again after that. So 8-2, I think I hit a volley in the line. I'm like, Hunter, are you calling that out? Yeah. Okay, challenge. It's in. Okay, overtime. Then Hunter hits a passing shot. He hits the post. You can see it from everywhere on the court. He hits the post. I'm like, ref, you're not gonna say anything? Like, I feel like he's not even like when I say this little thing, he's ready to go point penalty, but he's not able to see the ball bouncing on the post and going up like 90 degrees. Like, so that's why I was a little hit up. And then, well, then the non-American thing is such a stupid thing. Like, I'm sorry if I hurt the feelings of someone, but I was just, a little crazy in the interview and I said it, but it's not true. No one, I mean, I won, I don't know, 10 gold medals last year and I'm not American. So it's not that, it's not that they're trying to like, it's not that they're trying to mess me up, like, it's all good with the PPA. So yeah, that comment is stupid, but yeah, that's pretty much about it. I just felt like the ref was like trying to point everything wrong, but not helping me when something wrong was going in my favor.
Everybody's kind of got like a ref that they might have a little bit of beef with. So it sounds to me like you've got a little bit of ref or beef with this ref. Like, do you regret the non-American comment, or would you say that was like just a spur of the moment? I'm pissed off. I want to say something.
Yeah, that was in the moment. I was like, and honestly, like the whole crowd was against me the whole time. So it's like, shit, man, like everything is like terrible. Like I'm super tired because I played like 10,000 matches the day before, and then this is happening. So it's like, yeah, I just in the moment I just felt like saying that, not what I think at all. But then what you
Yeah,
said is true. Like when I walk in the court, not even we didn't play a point like warm up. I see this guy, the ref, and I know how he is, and I know that something is gonna happen. Like especially on a match like this against Hunter, that it's high intensity. Like I know, when I see Anisha over there, I'm like, fine, nothing's gonna happen. I see Don, it's
yeah.
like everything's good. But with this guy, I know like he's gonna give me something, like a warning, something is gonna happen. So yeah,
Yeah, I
Mm.
think the real problem is like the inconsistency, right? There are certain refs that you can get away with murder. You can say whatever you want. They're not going to do anything. Tennis
yeah,
style, right? You watch these clips of tennis players just like berating referees. I don't think we should do that. I don't think we should be there. But
for
like
sure,
you
no.
get away with so much more in tennis, and certain refs you can say whatever you want and there's nothing. Certain refs you give them a wrong look and they're giving you a attack, right? I just think there's got to be a little bit of consistency there. Like, I don't know. I'm sure we have written rules on it. I don't know how these rules are enforced, how point penalties are doled out from. It really does depend ref to ref. And so I feel like if you got a history with a ref too, there's got to be some sort of way to make sure that you're not with that one guy anymore.
Yeah, I mean the refs need to stay away a little bit from the show. It's not their moment. Sometimes they just want to insert themselves a little bit too much. And also, like for the players, it's kind of tough because with all the rule change, I mean, sometimes I just don't know. Like, oh, I got a point penalty for like maybe I wouldn't have done that. Like against Conor Garnett, I'm playing the bronze medal match. It's 9-7 in the third, and I challenged the ball just to get a timeout, but I forgot that I didn't have challenges or something happened, point penalty because I was wrong on the challenge. I was like, my gosh, like I forgot about that, so I didn't know.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, something
Why do
that
you
we
think? Oh,
go
go
ahead.
ahead, Zane.
Something that we have to clear up is this has got to be the last time that somebody challenges a challenge. So I put out a tweet about this, but like if there's a judgment call, right? If there's a 50-50 ball and you have basically two chances at a review, if it's 50-50, you have a 75% chance of it going your way. Like
Yeah,
um I mean we actually had the exact same situation happen over in Texas last year, right? At
Dallas.
some
Yeah,
like some foot fault call between the two of us. It's like
yeah,
it's it's a ridiculous rule. I think we need to have somebody who is just so here's the thing, like if the referee if the head ref's eyes are better than the ref on court's eyes, why don't we just use the head ref to review challenges right away, right? And
yeah,
if the head referee's eyes aren't any better than the referee on the court, well then why are they even being consulted? So it's like this makes no sense on face value to me that you can have a second set of review on this for a judgment call. The head ref is supposed to be out there for first off, we got to make sure we get the challenges right. I don't think we do that often, but the head ref should come out there for rules dispute, not for judgment calls.
Hmm.
I agree. And I think the biggest thing is players on the court shouldn't have access to technology. So like the problem was like when I played you, remember on that match, I went to my
Yeah, dude, you're asking everybody in the stands.
yeah,
You're
I'm
like,
like
what did you see? What
yeah,
did you
yeah
see?
yes, and then it's like they're showing me videos. I'm like so it's like I shouldn't be allowed to go and see that. Same thing happened with me and Hunter. Like they put it on the big screen over there, and it's like Hunter's like, oh, there you go, like it's in. So it's like like if you don't have access to technology, then you're not fighting it so much, so much. I think so. It's like yeah,
Yeah, I think it's weird to call in a second set of eyes for a video review,
yeah,
right?
it's
Like
terrible.
if Don had been on the court and it was like, okay, elevate it to Don to see if he saw something differently, that's one thing. But Don not being involved in the match at all, watching the same video that was used to uphold the original call, and then it gets overturned. It's a strange sequence of events. It almost seems like the ability to call in the head ref, it was never meant to be for line calls or like video reviews, and it was never specified. So I could foresee that that is changed moving forward, where like you can't call in the head ref to review a video review of a call,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, well, I
yeah,
mean, what I
So
mentioned to a few of the different PPA people after our match back in Texas where this happened was like, we just need to have somebody else that's not a part of this match reviewing it always. Why can't we have somebody in the truck or a ref who's sitting out, or a ref who is coordinating? Like one of the handful of very good refs, right? We all know who the refs are that are good. We all know who the refs are that don't see things always the way that 99% of players
call them
would.
out.
I'm not. I don't. Probably not going to do that. But we all know who the good refs are. Let's have a good ref just review this off the bat, right? Also, it's such a strange thing where the referee that is making a call is then supposed to rule on their own call. And well, I guess that's not the case here because they didn't make a call initially, but occasionally they're asked to make a ruling on their own call, which doesn't make sense to me either.
yeah. I think the line calling is the number one right now, in my opinion, is the number one priority for pro pico. Like we cannot like keep going up as a pro sport if we are calling our own lines. The challenge is a disaster. Like we need to figure that out like as soon as possible because if I'm playing Zane in a final for singles, right, and there's $100,000 on the line, who's calling lines in? No one. Like everything is out. In my eyes, I'm going crazy. Everything's out. Like I don't want to cheat, but it's like the tension, like the ball is going fast. It's like you know what I'm saying? Like it's a problem. I mean, I think that's like the main thing, and it's like it's gonna be like for the fans. Then if you have a legit system, then it makes the sport look actually like professional. Like if you're still calling lines, I don't think it's a good look at all.
Definitely. Well, stay tuned for Monday. I've got another letter coming out. I love a letter. It
Letter
addresses
letter
just
to
this.
to the PPA.
Letter to whoever wants to read it. It
Oh, like
is
the one that you did of MLP. That was a good one.
yeah, it is on just this, how we can solve cheating in pickleball. So it is,
Yeah,
I think it's the biggest problem that we have right now. I think it's surpassed
I
paddles.
agree. Yeah, I agree. Paddles is number two, but yeah, number one is line calling for sure.
Hmm.
As
So
much as I want to use that as a really good segue, I've got a few more questions on this topic. So, one, what was the medical timeout for?
Yeah, so the main delay was the whole challenge thing. We were there for like 25, 30 minutes waiting on Don to say that it was in. And I was waiting on the court. After 30 minutes, I had to go and I had to go to the restroom. So I was like, medical timeout, I came back from the restroom and I was ready to go. Like I didn't like, yeah, I just called it I had stomach issues, you could say. Like it's not like, yeah, I had to go to the restroom.
Why do you mentioned that it felt like the crowd was against you? Why do you think that was the case?
I don't know. I think like, I don't know. I think the people don't like the way I act on the court, and then they just want to cheer against the other guy, which is fine. Like it's sports, that's how it works. So yeah, I
you
just
don't
felt
you
like
don't mind
everything,
being the
everything
villain a
was
little bit.
No,
You're okay?
that's Will Howell's job. I don't want to do that. But no, yeah, it's tough to focus sometimes when you hit a good shot and no one says anything, and then the other guy hits a good shot and it's I don't know, everybody goes crazy, you know. So I
Yeah.
mean, I
Do
don't
you
care, but it's in there.
do you when you step out on the court, do you feel like a majority of the time crowd tends to be for the other guy, or is it sort of case by case? You never know what you're going to get.
No, no, it's like depends on the match. When I'm acting like this, usually people turn around and they're like against me every time. Uh,
You're very self-aware. You're very self-aware. He's like,
yeah.
when I'm acting
So
out,
like
they
when
don't
I
like
play
me.
when I play Connor, Hunter, or Ben, that are like the three most challenging matches, and I go a little crazier than usual, crowd is against me every single time. Uh, well, when I play Jaume too, everybody loves Jaume. But yeah, I mean, outside the court, it's like everybody wants a picture and autograph, so it's like I don't feel it out there. It's just in the moment of the match.
Are there any players where you're like, oh, good, I'm playing against these guys because crowd and refs are always against them.
I don't
Or
know about refs, but the I was watching the men's doubles final the other day, and everybody was against Christian. They were so
Mm.
upset that he was yelling on Gabe's face. So I'm playing with Christian next week, so that'll be good.
the bad boys.
Yeah.
Uh,
Wait, one last thing
that'll
from
be
that
great.
match. What was the bird about, and who was it at?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Oh, the bird. The bird was for Ricardo. You know, you guys know Ricardo, the guy that does videos and for the PPA. Ricardo, you know him?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, he was like, you know, flipping me, and I was like, I'll flip you. You know, like he was like on the other
The
side.
video guy? The
Yeah,
video guy was
yeah, just but like making fun, you know, like just being funny. And I was like, whatever. I just didn't realize that I was in the freaking uh, camera thing. It
that's
wasn't like a
awesome.
Kate. It wasn't like Kate Fucky moment. Like she like literally saw it, and then it's like right there. No, I just didn't know. I was taking a nap on the bench.
So did the
Right.
PPA fine you for the bird?
Not yet. So let's try
They're
to not.
about to.
I
No,
already asked
it's
like a lot. I already asked a lot of people, and they said no. But if I am gonna get fined, I'll let you know.
well, you got Ricardo as the guy. He's like, he flipped me off first. What am I supposed to do?
Yeah, exactly. I have something. I have something.
All right, yeah, that was going to be the next thing was like Kate Fahey basically screaming at was she said get that effing camera off me like at the camera. Was that Ricardo too?
No, no, I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think so. No, Ricardo makes like videos with his own camera. He's not like the Pickleable TV.
Mm, okay.
Uh,
Got it.
I don't want to. I don't want to put Ricardo in a bad spot here. Like I don't imagine like no. Ricardo is amazing.
Ricardo gets fired.
Yeah, we love Ricardo.
Ricardo's a homie.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, the targeting stuff, and then we got a good list here, but the targeting stuff where it seemed like was it Don who initially called the first targeting call, but then overturned it. But almost what $2,500 fine for Hayden and a warning. But ultimately they reviewed it and didn't end up upholding the call because he saw that it didn't go above the level of the shoulders. But even if it had, isn't there a degree of having to rule on intent? Or is that not the case at all? Is it now that if you're hitting a ball above a person's shoulders, it's targeting?
Yeah. Go ahead.
It's got to have intent and it's got to actually happen, essentially. So like you have to intend to hit, like to cause harm, essentially. And even if your intent so even if your intent is to cause harm but you hit him in the chest, not targeting. If you're not intending to cause harm and you hit him in the face, not targeting. If your intent is to cause harm and it goes above the shoulders, targeting. So for those
Yeah,
of you guys
I guess it's intentional or reckless. So reckless is, I think, the vague term that allows for the discretion and for the subjectivity. So it really is up to the ref's interpretation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah, I
what'd
mean,
you
first
think?
of all, yeah, first of all, that thing is suspended right after what Hayden did. They suspended the targeting rule right away.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Where'd you hear
really?
that from? I didn't know that.
No, just in the tournament. Like we played that match, and then the day after, every match that I was playing, the refs were like, "Okay, just to let you know, targeting rule is suspended for now or on hold, whatever."
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
So you just start headshotting everybody immediately?
I think I don't know what you guys think, but I think that rule is a little dumb. I mean, if you can hit someone in the face and you want to do it, you should be able to. I think
Flip it.
like
Flip it.
yeah. I mean, it's like I mean that's the thing. Like I'm never gonna do that. I'm never gonna go for that shot. Like I was glad that Ben didn't hit Kwan. Like Ben is a good guy. He will be in trouble honestly if he takes an eye of Kwan. You know, like it's not a good look for your personal brand. I think. But Yeah, they suspended it. And that Don Stanley call was funny because he called it and right away, like they didn't go to review it. Like we were like, so hey, that was the match point. So right away, I'm like, no chance. And then he's like, yeah, no, Janet, like, he like right on the spot, he changed his call. But you could tell that he was like, he wanted to call it so bad. Like he was like waiting for the moment.
It seemed like it. Even yeah, that one was it was high, it was whatever. It didn't seem like it was egregious or reckless. Like yeah, obviously
Yeah,
he's trying
nah.
to tag him, but it didn't seem like it was to cause harm. Like there's no context there other than like Wyatt and Hayden are like buddies and
Yeah.
that's like yeah. So I mean, I was like in theory okay with it under the understanding that I think it'll never be called. Like it might be a good precaution to deter it, I guess, because the last thing that the PPA wants is a high profile somebody loses an eye. Maybe they actually have some like legal
Yeah.
exposure or something. Like maybe they're liable if this happens. I don't know how that even works, right? Like so maybe that was some form of them protecting themselves, which I could understand. So I would say in a weird way, I'm like in favor of the rule as long as it's never actually enforced.
Yeah. No, I mean, and I think we reached the power. So everybody was like, we don't know the limit on power on the paddles. If you can legitimately like go for someone's head, then I think paddles are too poppy. You know, like
Yeah, for real. If you can't get out of the
that's
way, yeah,
yeah, exactly. If you can really like just get off the way with your head, like then that means the paddles are too hot, and then we're gonna have to be all wearing goggles or whatever eye protection. So I think that's the main thing about this, you know.
yeah, it's the paddle problem. I agree. This wasn't a problem a few years ago when we weren't playing with these crazy hot paddles.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, we can use that as the transition. So, can you give us an update on what's going on with Adidas paddle? You're using Yola. Just signed a big Adidas agreement. You're the poster boy of Adidas pickleball, but you emerged this past weekend with a Yola paddle. What's going on there?
Yeah, so basically Tucson wasn't a good tournament for me. I was playing with a paddle that I was not comfortable yet. So we just decided to, you know, with Adidas agreement, of course, I'm not, you know, breaking any rules with them or something. They just let me. They were flexible and nice enough to let me just go back to what I was using before. And while we are still, you know, testing new prototypes every week, and you know, it takes a little bit of time to get everything approved by the UPA, USAP. Uh, so yeah, just while I'm, you know, finding the perfect paddle for me, you know, they're letting me just use what I was comfortable with. So it's a good flexible transition, basically.
Yeah, I mean the good news is I looked online. It doesn't look like they're selling the new versions of the paddles yet, so they're still kind of in the. It seems like the testing out phase or like limited runs. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think the paddles are gonna be out April or May, so between that time. Yeah.
So you can still make some adjustments before these actually hit the market. And so I think there was an issue like I feel like this was like 10 years ago, and I hope somebody will correct me, but I believe there was a time where there was a shoe company that was like so far and away better that different shoe companies that sponsored marathon runners allowed their runners to use a competitor's brand until they could catch up, which like I thought was wild at first, but like do you if you're Adidas, do you want to be like the cause of or what people perceive to be the cause of Fed not doing as well in a singles tournament, right? Because you've
Yeah.
been so unbelievably consistent in 2025. And so honestly, like legitimate kudos to them for allowing you to keep winning until there's a paddle that you're comfortable with. And then when you do win with an Adidas paddle, they can shut up all the haters. Until then there'll be lots of haters still though.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, yeah, exactly what he just said is perfect. Yeah, it's like it's either, you know, I was gonna lose with the prototype that I don't feel comfortable with, or we just keep perfection that, and then I feel comfortable with, and when it comes out, it's actually something really good. So that's what we're trying to do.
Mm-hmm. It had to have been
Yeah. So what does that process look like? Are they like sending you? Are you still in this phase of like they're sending you prototypes, you using it, testing it, giving them feedback, or
Yeah.
what does the next few months look like? Do you have sort of a timetable as far as when you're hoping to have a new version in your hands and
No,
ready to go and play with?
it's honestly every week. They just build paddles every week, and they send me, new stuff. Now we're working with stuff a little more traditional. Like Adidas was really familiar with the screws and hole and all the edgeless kind of stuff. Now we're moving into a little more traditional paddles, which I like because it's a little bit more normal of what I was using, more comparable. So yeah, just moving into that direction for now, and then if the hole and the screws work for me later on, then I'll play with that. But now we're just moving into a more traditional type of sandwich kind of style paddle.
Yeah. You're a good case study for this. Do you think there's a case to be made for having it playing with a different paddle in singles versus doubles? Is that something you'd ever consider? Do you think the game will move in that direction? It does seem odd given how different singles is from doubles that players would use the same paddle for both.
Yeah, in my case, I would honestly, if I could, I don't do it, but because just a personal preference, I would, for example, I would use a 14 millimeter in singles, and I will use a 16 millimeter in doubles. Just because like 16 millimeter gives you like a little more stability, in like the dings, the drops, and you can still get decent pop, but the 14 gives that kind of like extra, like slap on the volleys, on the passing shots that right now that's what you need in singles. There's not a lot of dropping anymore, and cat and mouse stuff. So it's like you just want that 1-2 punch kind of feel.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's tough for the. I mean, I do still think eventually we'll see singles specialists, right? I think we're going to see singles and double specialists like we do in tennis. I do think right now when somebody like Fed is playing both, like you just want a paddle that you can do both with, right? You're not really optimizing for either of them, and it's really tough to switch between different paddles. Like, so I mean, I think eventually in singles when we have single specialists, they're going to really bump up the weight on the paddles because more weight means you can get a little bit more power, a little bit more compression on the ball, and when you're playing singles, the quick hand speed isn't nearly
Yeah.
as important, right? So having the extra weight, the extra stability there in singles, I think is huge. Something lighter in doubles. I just, you know, I think doubles, you'll probably see paddle sizes start to actually reduce again. And then singles, I think singles will also have that like blade type of shape where you have a 16 and a half inch long paddle pretty much always. Cause I think that the extra reach in singles is obviously super, super important. So I do think that like right now we're not seeing people using drastically different paddles between singles and doubles because it's an adjustment period to go back and forth. But when you have singles only specialists, their paddles are going to look very different from doubles specialists.
100% agree on the people are going to start to specialize on certain events. It's just what Anna Lee is doing is unbelievable. Like I don't think people understand how hard that is. Like playing three events and winning every single time. Like I think it was Masters that I make all three finals. I had to take 5 days off after that. Like I was completely busted. I was dead. Like and this week the same thing. Like I played three matches every day for the 6 days. It's just super hard on the body. Like it's not like you're playing from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. every day. It's not like tennis that you play for 3 hours. Of course, you're warm up in the morning, but you're literally like under pressure and tension for like 8 hours. It's like yeah, you're gonna have singles guys for sure and doubles guys.
Hmm.
Dude, she's a freaking animal. It's insane. That final I watched between her and Catherine and Rachel and Anna, like it literally looked like she was playing her last ever pickleball match. She was that like fired up. It's unbelievable because she's been in that situation a million times.
But also like the singles, I thought it was the most impressive match that she
Hmm.
had.
Yeah.
She's down 11-5, 9-5. She's super tired. She won so many women. Like, what's gonna happen if she loses one singles by nothing? And she came back like this was literally, as you said, the last time ever that she was gonna be in a singles final. And I remember I think it was 9-4. She gets 1 point, normal point, and she starts like going like this for the crowd. And in that moment, I was like, she's coming back. And you could tell
Yeah.
on Brooke's face, and on like you could tell like through their faces who was gonna win because Brooke felt like if you see Brooke and you didn't know the score, it felt like Brooke was losing. I'm like,
Hmm.
Brooke, you're 9-5 up, like you still it was pretty incredible. And Brooke played amazing, honestly. Brooke had an amazing match too.
She's playing sick with that new like Andre Agassi paddle. It's a really weird shaped paddle, but like
Yeah,
she's
it's
playing
crazy. It's
well
like
with
a
it.
ten. It's
It
like a
looks
tennis racket. Yeah.
it looks ugly, but like conceptually, I think it like makes just the shape of it looks so weird, but I think it makes
It's
sense. Like,
huge. Yeah.
yeah, it is funky looking, but she played well with it.
Yeah.
Zane, where do you want to go from here? We've got a few more topics I think we could cover. I want to hear your guys' take on the MLP, what we've deemed stealing players. But I see a couple other topics here. Zane, what do you want to?
Basically, you guys broke the news. I didn't see it anywhere else. The Dink broke the news that basically these fifth and sixth roster spots on MLP teams for this upcoming year, after every two events, the teams have to designate their top four players, and if you're not in that top four, you're basically kind of in the waiver pool again. Anybody can pick you up, or there'll be a Dutch auction to see who can pick up these players or have the rights to these players first. So you got six players on a team, but really you only have your top four. Everybody else is like poachable essentially.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's interesting, right? Because it gives the chance. Let's say if you're in the fives and you're a great player, but you're the number five, maybe you have a chance on another lower level team, right? Kind of, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, like it would make some of the up and comers get on to new teams quicker, but I guess the counter argument is like, why would the fives even like bring those fifth and sixth players in? You don't have substitutes. You have to designate your top four players for every match. You can only have four players play, right? You have to have. It's not like you can have, you know, Federico on the squeeze be the singles specialist, right? You have to play all of the events if you're in. This is really just for injury purposes. So I even bring those players at that point.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. I feel like you should be able to like kind of like use them in your favor. Kind of like, okay, we're going Dreamberger, guys. Saying you're out. Tom Evans, you're in. Something like that. Like that would be cool. I think it makes it more interesting. Like in soccer, I mean, when they go penalty shootout, sometimes some players just get in to literally kick a penalty because they're good
Mm-hmm.
at it. I
Hmm.
think I think they should use gives a little more storylines and more exciting. And like that's what you need, honestly. Like,
For
Mm-hmm.
sure. If you've got six on a roster, you might as well be able to sub or at least use like, okay, even if we have to announce the lineups before the day
Yeah,
before the
before,
match,
yeah,
at least you could say like, "Hey, I've got a men's doubles guy and I've got a mixed doubles guy, and we use both of them." Like,
100%.
all right, that seems to make sense to me. I don't know why we wouldn't do it. I do think that like so if you look at the 5 and 6 stealing issue at face value, I think it's a bad rule. I think it's
Yeah,
you shouldn't be allowed to do it. The reason that I'm somewhat soft on it is because I do think that there's a huge difference between the top teams that are spending money and want to win and the bottom teams that might have been coming up from challenger or who have scrapped the entire roster. Like I think a big problem that we're going to have if is that part of the thing people have loved about Major League Pickleball is the parity. And I think we have no parity between the top and the bottom right now, right? And so maybe this is their way of saying like, hey, look, if there's up and coming players, these teams that are towards the bottom have the first strikes at them so we can start to make this league more competitive again. That's the only rationale I can really see.
yeah. I also like it. I don't like it because if you keep dropping and changing names,
Right.
it's tough for the fans to like. I feel like we need to get rid of like all the draft. Like if there's someone that is like a Fives fan, right, and he loves you, loves Saint. Like he doesn't want to see Saint leave every year. It's like they need to like kind of like build that, fan player relationships. Like where I'm a fan of the squeeze, and I also love Dylan Frazier. I want to follow him like this year like crazy. So I mean, of course, trades like a NBA team, whatever. But I think we just got to build up on that, team chemistry, fun behavior kind of thing.
Yeah, the adding and dropping of 5 and 6 is going to be just such a cluster this
Yeah,
year.
you're right.
Like they're going to be moving around. I mean, think about how many waivers there were in Challenger to begin with. Like Challenger, those teams were turning over like every single event practically, right? Everybody was making a move
That
if they
was
weren't.
crazy. Yeah.
And then now it's going to be like that on crack. Like it's going to be even more, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think unless it's patching up some other issues, I'd say on face value, I'm not a big fan of that because there's no real reason to spend any time or effort with those fifth and sixth players if they're just not even yours. Like why would we even pay to have somebody that we can't keep, right? So
Yeah. Yep. I agree.
All right, Fed. You are currently number 1 in both doubles and singles. Does it feel good? Feel good to be the number 1 guy? Do you feel like you get the respect of the number 1 guy?
Nah, I think like everybody still thinks, like Ben is the guy. It feels good to have the number one right next to your name when you play a tournament. It's adds a little more pressure. Everybody's coming for your head a little more. But I think still Ben is kind of like the best player in the world. I'm just trying to stay humble and try to keep that number one for as long as I can. And yeah, just try to work on that.
so do you think it doesn't do you think that you are the best men's doubles player in the world?
Okay, so they asked me a question the other day. So I don't think my opinion matters that much. I think we have a ranking system that we all play under. So it's like when we play Monopoly, there's these rules and we just all play, like, and there's a winner at the end. This is what's happening right now. Under these rules, I'm winning. So under the last 52 weeks, I managed to have more points than the rest. So that's the only thing I can say. You know, in my opinion, Colin Jones is better than these guys, or I don't know. Noah Cliff should be top 10. I don't know. That doesn't really matter. The only thing that I know is that under these rules, I'm winning on the game that we're playing. That's about it that I can say from that.
Yeah, but I mean, I think those are two slightly different things, right? Like, so yeah, you can be
He's
you
frozen.
can be the
He's
person
gone.
who's like
He was
who's
gonna say
has the
something
most
bad.
points, but then there's
Zane, we
also the
lost you for.
oh
You
Hold
have to
on,
shit.
Zane.
you have to repeat that amazing statement that you just said.
Yeah.
No, no, no. So they're like two things, right? There's rankings and then there's power rankings, right? And so like I don't think anybody should deny the fact that you've scored more points than anybody else. You've done it with a variety of partners, and you've won a bunch of different tournaments. So I don't think that that's the. I mean, that wasn't the question that I'm asking. I'm asking on the power ranking side. What your opinion is, and if you don't want to answer that, that's all good too.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's a lot of good players, and we have so many tournaments every week, and some players are good week. I thought Andre and Christian. I thought Christian was the best player in the world last week. Maybe next week is gonna be Ben. Maybe the other week is gonna be Hayden. I think it
Yeah,
changes every week, and that's the fun part about that. And singles is the same thing. Hunter
yeah.
could be amazing this week, and then the following week we have Kwang Dong back in the podium. Kind of.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the power rankings is super, super dynamic. Points take a
Yeah,
little bit of
exactly.
time. Power rankings is like who's playing well. Hunter tweaked his ankle. Like he might be down to 5 in the power rankings for this upcoming week, right?
Yeah,
Right.
nah.
So I do think, back to Thomas's question, I do think that you don't get the respect that you deserve in singles. People still think who's the best player in the world in singles? It's Ben. Yes, he's got a head to head on you, but the body of work that you put in 2024 on singles was, I think, unbelievably impressive and unbelievably undervalued by like general pickleball public, right? But you didn't get the credit that you deserve for having that number 1 ranking there.
Yeah, I think I last year I worked so hard to play all the tournaments and also play all the singles. And that's not easy. And I was like always mentally ready. I think that's the toughest part. Waking up and being like, okay, today I have a challenge. All these guys want to kill me, and I'm gonna have to try to beat them. And that's like that's a tough job. I mean, I did have all the resources possible that were amazing that were working for me, but yeah, it was a hard working year, and I'm proud of. And honestly, it doesn't really matter for me if these guys in Twitter say that I'm not the number one, or I just when I tweet, I just joke around with them. I don't care.
You
Like
troll them
for
a little
me,
bit.
yeah, exactly. For me, I can just go to sleep. That I did everything that I had to. That's it.
There we go. Um,
It's like
Tommy, you want to?
Jim Kloss. Jim Kloss is like current number one against next future number one. He was saying about Hunter and Ben. I'm like, hey, bro, like,
I saw
can
that.
I have?
That's what made me
Can you
ask. Yeah,
can you give me something here? Like,
he
but
doesn't think you're number 1 because you're head to head with Ben. And I think Ben, everybody's got difficult matchups. Your head to head against Ben isn't phenomenal. Your head to head against everybody else is. Ben's head to head against you is good. Ben's head to head against the field isn't as good as yours. You just took 0
yeah,
bad losses in 2024 whatsoever, right? And so I think it's undervaluing the fact that you were medaling silver, bronze, gold in every single singles event. Like, yeah. So I think that's important as well, even though you don't have the head to head.
thank you.
That's no bullshit answer. I'm not just glazing you because you're here.
I'll take the glaze.
Um, all right, you want to play our fun game, Tommy? Should we go for the fun game, the
It's
blind
so
rank?
fun.
Tommy hates this game. I
It's gonna
like
be
this
so
game.
fun. No, I liked it. I liked playing it last time.
All right, Fetty, we're going to blind rank these 5 signature shots in pickleball without knowing what comes next. First
All right,
one is a Tyler Loong Ernie.
it's a good one. That's a really good one. That's an OG shot. I'll put a 3.
Put it at 3. Okay.
Yeah,
Next up, we've got an Anna Lee inside out backhand, the one that she like runs around.
that's a really good shot. But I think we're gonna have two better ones. Let's go for.
Dang, that's a good shot. All right, we've got a Riley Newman pancake.
I'm gonna put it number 2.
Number
That's just
2. What are
that's
you
just. I mean,
waiting for,
that's.
dude? What's a more iconic shot than a Riley Newman pancake?
There's a couple more, I think.
What do you think is coming in at number 1, dude?
I don't know. Let's see.
All right, we've got a Kawamoto reset. Either Kawamoto, take your pick.
Five. Five.
Five. All right, let's see. Let's see what you like. This is number one now. You left number one open. We've got a Hayden Patriquin full body bag.
I like it. Okay, that's a good one. Number one. That's number one. Yeah, that's good. I think that's a good top five. Really
That's a
good
pretty
top
good
five.
list. I feel like you got a
Yeah.
pretty good list.
Yeah.
All right, what did you think we missed on that one?
I think you went Newman one, right? I
No,
guess.
no, 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 no. Like, what
Oh,
were there other things that like you thought should have been
yeah,
part of the?
I thought that you were gonna bring like a Ben Jones back and roll or like a Conor Garnett TUI
I thought about
ATP,
those. I thought about them.
uh, and then a Deco bar serve, maybe.
That was also that none of those made the cut. Those were all thought through, but would have been good
Yeah,
ones.
yeah.
Tommy, you got one or no? Was that it?
I have boring ones. I thought that was good. We'll clip
No,
that one
that
out.
was a good one.
All right.
Um, I think that's about it. Unless we want to talk about, I don't know what this Travis paddle challenge is.
I think we should wait for a little bit more info to come out on that one. I feel like he basically did the first paddle challenge of the year.
To who?
All right, let's talk about it. Fuck it. So basically, Travis this past weekend, Mesa issued the very first paddle challenge. I think he challenged both Eric Roddy's paddle, which I believe Eric Roddy switched out. It's Eric's prerogative to do that. He also challenged Liz Truluck's paddle, and she continued to play with it. So she played out the match with it. Referee takes it afterwards, and I'm pretty sure they go ship it back to the PB Core lab to test, which I think that this is going to be a very, very telling moment for paddle challenges in 2025 because I played on the court next to them. I was walking away and they were just starting their warm up. I hear a dink from Liz Truluck, and it's like a gunshot. They start hitting ground strokes. You could probably hear that thing from Texas. Like it was the craziest sounding paddle for that I've heard for years, legitimately years. It was the most nasty sounding paddle. And so if this thing comes back as legal, what are we doing here?
Yeah, exactly.
So I can't wait to see kind of the process on this one. I think Travis has some like money at stake on this. I'm pretty sure it's like if he's wrong, it's like a good chunk of change to pay. I could be incorrect on that. It could have also changed, but I think this is going to be a very telling moment for just what happens cuz like I would bet if there was betting odds on this and there was real like accurate testing, I would put 10K that paddle was hot.
Yeah, there's for me it's pretty crazy also that they're not testing paddles for round of 64.
Yeah.
Like like there's some paddles that are so delaminated out there, and yeah, they're scary for sure.
Yeah, and those are the people that probably need the wins the most to get the points, right? Qualifiers, round of 64, like those are important matches,
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's not like, yeah, I don't know why you wouldn't paddle
right?
test.
Well, we should all just have a like our round of 32, round of 64 paddles and then our legal paddles.
Exactly, yeah.
So, I think that was it. Pickleball.com actually was where we they were the ones who picked up on the paddle challenge. I had no idea about it. So they're reporting on themselves, I guess.
Yes.
Uh, let's see. I'm trying to, because I do remember that as well. Like if you are going to challenge a paddle and the paddle's legal, like you risk some sort of, I don't know, penalty, whether it's a monetary or otherwise.
Yeah, there's
I'm trying to
something out
find
there.
out
I
what
can't
that is.
remember. I think it's changed.
For the challenger, if the paddle is found compliant, the challenging player faces a $1,000 fine. The fine doubles with each failed challenge. It's pretty interesting.
Damn, so Travis could be out a grand.
Travis is Travis
But
is
for the challenged player, if the paddle is found non-compliant, the player faces a minimum $2,500 fine. The player and their partner, if it's in doubles, could be disqualified retroactively. All points gained in the challenged match and subsequent bracket points will be lost. Any medals earned will be removed from the records.
Damn.
that makes
Interesting.
sense.
So
Yeah.
you should really just like talk to your opponent and be like, look, if I do this, somebody's losing at least $1,000. Just put your goddamn paddle away. Like, get a different one. Right? That's what Eric did, I'm pretty sure, in that one. Like, either Travis is out 1,000 or Liz is out 2,500. PPA is getting paid one way or another. Yeah,
Yeah, guy, PPA is winning no matter what. They won the
PPA is like, yeah,
challenges.
challenge away.
Yeah, yeah. The thing is that maybe Liz doesn't even know that it's here. I mean, as you said, it was pretty crazy sound, but sometimes you don't know. Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like, who knows? Maybe it passed their testing and she didn't play with it, like, until then. Like, she probably thinks, all right, it passed half an hour ago. Like, this must be legal then, right? But to me, as just a passerby in that one, I'm like, oh, damn, that thing is hot sounding.
Yeah.
All right, Fetty. Thanks for coming on. Congrats on being number one. But you gotta act like it. I need a little more cockiness out of you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
that's
I'll
for
get
him and
it.
Christian.
Maybe you can teach me. Maybe you can teach me, Tom, how to do it.
Could
Shots
be
fired at
arranged.
Thomas. Bonus points.
Nah, he's a good guy. He's a good guy.
Nice. End it there. Pickleball.
Thanks, Fetty.
Thank you, guys. See you.
Yeah.